You know, we've all been taught that getting good with money is about what you know. It's about spreadsheets and market analysis and these super complex formulas. But what if that's just completely wrong? Today, we're going to dive into this amazing idea from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money, that your financial success has very little to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. It's not a hard science. It's a soft skill.
And to see just how high the stakes really are when it comes to our behavior, just look at this quote. It's real. During the 2008 crash, someone shared their story online. They went from having over $1 million to being $300,000 in debt in about a week. Just think about that for a second. They obviously made some good decisions to get to $1 million, but 1 week of behavior, under all that pressure, just wiped it all out. It just goes to show you, even when you think you know what you're doing, your own mind can be your worst enemy.
Now check this out. This slide shows two real people who prove the point perfectly. On one side, you have Ronald Reed, a janitor. He was frugal, a patient investor, just quietly putting his small salary to work for decades. And on the other side, Richard Fuscone, a Harvard-educated Wall Street executive living this huge, lavish lifestyle. Well, one of them died a secret millionaire, and the other died bankrupt. This isn't a fairy tale. It's a true story about behavior, not brains or salary.
So if the janitor can end up wealthier than the Wall Street executive, what's the real secret here? It's clearly not about being a math wizard. And that brings us right to the heart of the book. It's not about the calculations you can do. It's about your conduct. It's this soft skill that absolutely changes everything.
So let's just lay it out, plain and simple. Financial success is a soft skill. It's all about how you manage stuff like greed and fear and just general insecurity. You could be an absolute genius who can't control their emotions, and you could be a financial disaster. Meanwhile, a totally ordinary person with just a few key behavioral skills, they can build incredible wealth.
So why is our behavior so darn tricky? Well, it's because every single one of us is looking at the world through this tiny little keyhole, a keyhole that was shaped by our own personal history. Your own experience with money, which, let's be honest, is a tiny fraction of what's ever happened in the world. It shapes almost your entire view of how money works. If you grew up when inflation was sky high, you see things totally differently than someone who grew up during a massive stock market boom. And here's the thing, neither of you is crazy. You're just living in the reality of your own unique experience.
Okay, so if our behavior is king, what should we even be aiming for? Before we can behave well with our money, we got to understand what the real goal is. And it turns out, most of us have the definition of wealth completely backward.
So, what is it? I'll tell you what it's not. It's not the fancy car. It's not the giant house. It's something way, way more valuable. And yet, it's completely invisible.
Seriously, what do you think it is? What is the ultimate thing that money can buy you? The one thing it gives you that nothing else really can.
And there it is, the highest form of wealth, the ultimate prize, is control over your own time. It's freedom. It's the ability to choose what you do, when you do it, and who you do it with. That right there is the true value of money.
And this brings us to such a critical distinction. See, being rich is about your current income. It's what people see. It's flashy. It's about looking impressive. But being wealthy, that's a whole different ballgame. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the income you haven't spent. It's the hidden assets that buy you flexibility, that buy you freedom. Real wealth is the fancy car you didn't buy, the diamond you passed on.
All right, so if we're all aiming for this unseen wealth, we also have to get our heads around the unseen forces that shape our financial lives. Think of them as the invisible siblings that are present at every single success and every failure.
Let's be real for a second. Every single financial outcome is guided by more than just how hard you worked. Success, more often than not, has a healthy dose of pure, dumb luck. And failure? Well, that's often the product of risk. They're literally two sides of the same coin. And the crazy part is, the line between making a boldly inspiring move and a foolishly reckless one is almost impossible to see until long after the fact.
Okay, but there's a third unseen force. And honestly, it might be the most powerful of them all. Just look at this number. Take a second to let that sink in. A staggering 96.5% of Warren Buffett's entire net worth was earned after he was old enough to collect Social Security. I mean, that's just insane. This isn't just about him being a good investor. There's something else going on here.
And this is the secret sauce. Buffett's real superpower wasn't just his brain, it was his time frame. He started investing when he was just 10 years old, and he never stopped.
He let compounding, that quiet, almost boring force, work its incredible magic for over 75 years. The secret ingredient isn't just genius, it's time. So, we know the right mindset is built on this foundation of time and compounding. But what are the actual behaviors that let us survive long enough for time to do its thing? That brings us to our playbook for staying rich. Because getting rich is one thing, but as we saw with that very first story, staying rich, that's a completely different game.
This, right here, is such a critical insight. The skills that help you get rich are almost the complete opposite of the skills that help you stay rich. Getting rich often takes a ton of optimism and taking big, bold risks. But staying rich, that requires humility. It requires a healthy dose of paranoia that it could all be gone tomorrow.
You know, a great way to really get this is to flip the script. Don't just look at what Warren Buffett did. Look at all the things he didn't do. He didn't get carried away with debt. He didn't panic and sell everything during 14 different recessions. He didn't quit or burn out. A huge part of his success is just about the massive mistakes he consistently avoided. It's a game of survival.
So what's the takeaway for us? Well, here's the deal. You are not a spreadsheet. You're a person with real emotions. A financially perfect plan that you can't actually stick with when you're scared or excited is completely useless. The best plan is simply one that's reasonable enough for you to follow through all the inevitable ups and downs of life.
And this is just a brilliant way to stay reasonable. When the market goes down, it feels like a punishment, right? Like a fine you have to pay for making a bad decision. But what if you just reframed it? That volatility, that uncertainty, that fear, it's not a fine, it's the fee. It's the price of admission you have to pay to get the long-term returns the market has to offer. I mean, nothing worthwhile is ever free.
You know, there's so much in the financial world that's completely out of our hands. You can't control what the market's going to do next year. You can't control interest rates, but there's one number, one variable that you have absolute 100% control over, and that's your personal savings rate. It is the one part of the wealth equation that is totally and completely up to you. And that idea of focusing on what you can control, like your savings rate, brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle: playing your own game. All these behaviors, all these strategies, they only work if you can stop looking over your shoulder at what everyone else is doing. You have to remember the only competitor that truly matters is you. Think about it. Why did your friend just buy that hot new tech stock? Because he's a day trader, playing a super short-term game. Why are you tempted to copy him? Social pressure. Taking your financial cues from people who aren't even playing the same sport as you is an absolute recipe for disaster. You have to define your own game, your own timeline, and stick to it. And that brings us to the final idea. Honestly, this is the hardest skill for almost everyone to learn. The real danger of comparing yourself to others is that it creates this hunger for more and more and more. And the problem with more is that its ceiling is so high, you'll never, ever reach it. The hardest and most vital skill is learning to get the goalpost to just stop moving.
So I'm going to leave you with this question. And it's not about picking some random number out of thin air. It's about really figuring out what gives you that freedom, that control over your own time we talked about. It's about defining your own finish line, so you don't spend your whole life running someone else's race. So, what does enough truly look like for you?